When you turn 40, something subtle but profound shifts in the way you see life. Your career, your health, your relationships, each carries a different weight than it did a decade earlier. But perhaps the most powerful shift of all is how you view your children. They are no longer the small hands that needed to be guided across the street, or the voices calling you at night after a bad dream. They are taller now, louder in their opinions, more insistent on their independence. You begin to realize, sometimes with a pang of fear and sometimes with a swell of pride, that your children are no longer simply yours. They are their own. This is a lesson few of us are prepared for. After 40, the central challenge for many parents is not how to hold on tighter, but how to let go gracefully. Letting go is not abandonment. It is a different form of love, a recognition that our children must stumble, must walk, must run, sometimes away from us, in order to truly grow. The illusion of time when they were toddlers, the days felt endless. Feeding, bathing, school runs, bedtime rituals, the cycle seemed permanent. But now, looking back, those years compressed into a blur. You realize that childhood was never a fixed stage, but a fast-moving river, carrying your son or daughter downstream while you stood on the bank, sometimes waving, sometimes shouting, sometimes trying to build dams in vain. After 40, you see clearly that time is not on pause. The child who once clung to your leg now shrugs off your advice. The girl who once asked you to braid her hair now locks her room and spends hours on the phone. The illusion of permanence is gone, replaced with the truth of impermanence. The fear of disconnection many parents at midlife carry an unspoken fear. That as children grow, the bond will dissolve. The hugs will vanish, the trust will fade, and the closeness will be replaced by silence. You remember how easily your child once opened up to you about their day at school, their friends, their worries. Now their words are shorter. Fine. Nothing. Just tired. Silence at the dinner table feels heavier than words. You wonder, have I lost them? But the truth is that this distance is not rejection. It is rehearsal. They are rehearsing for a world where they will stand on their own, testing independence like new wings. Your role is no longer to hold them down, but to hold steady while they take flight. Control versus guidance after 40. A parent often confronts the futility of control. For years, control felt like responsibility. You decided their bedtime, their meals, their homework schedule. You believed that if you managed enough details, you could manage outcomes. Good grades, good friends, good character. But adolescence laughs at control. The harder you grip, the more they pull away. Arguments flare over curfews, clothing, career choices, even love. Each disagreement is a mirror showing you, control was never the goal. Guidance is. Control seeks obedience, guidance seeks trust. Control commands, do as I say. Guidance whispers, here is what I have learned, the choice is yours. Stories of conflict consider a father at 45, once proud of his ability to provide everything his son needed. When the boy chose to study art instead of engineering, the father erupted. Art is not a career, he shouted. The son walked out. For days, silence reigned. Only later did the father realize his anger was fear. Fear that his son would struggle, that he himself would be judged for allowing it. In trying to protect, he had suffocated. The lesson came painfully. Loving your child sometimes means watching them walk into storms you cannot stop. Or the mother who checked her daughter's phone daily, convinced it was the only way to keep her safe. The daughter, feeling spied upon, learned to hide. Their relationship fractured until the mother learned that trust cannot be built on surveillance. Letting go meant closing the phone, opening the ears, and asking, "How was your day?" with genuine curiosity. Accepting difference, perhaps the deepest challenge after 40, is accepting that your children are not you. You may see your features in their faces, your habits in their gestures, but their dreams are not replicas of yours. You may have longed for stability, while they crave adventure. You may have sacrificed passion for security, while they are willing to risk it all for something they love. The temptation is to mold them into safer versions of yourself. But love after 40 demands humility. The humility to admit that their path may be wiser for them than yours would have been. The power of listening at midlife. Listening becomes the most radical act of parenting. Not lecturing, not correcting, not listing reasons, but listening. When your son tells you he wants to drop out of college, you listen to the fear behind the words. When your daughter confesses her first heartbreak, you listen without rushing to fix it. In listening, you become not the judge but the witness. And children, no matter how old, long for witnesses, to be seen, to be heard, to be believed. Building trust after 40 is fragile. It cannot be demanded, it must be earned. And the way to earn it is paradoxical, by giving it first. Trusting your teenager to make choices means sometimes watching them fail. Trusting your young adult to manage money means letting them overspend and learn. Trusting your child in love means letting them date someone you might not choose. Each act of trust is a seed planted. Sometimes it grows slowly, but when it blooms, the bond is stronger than control could ever achieve. Pride and pain of independence. Parents speak often of wanting their children to be independent. Yet when independence arrives, it can sting. The first time your daughter says, "I don't need you to drive me." The first time your son moves to another city. The first time they stop calling daily. Independence feels like rejection, but it is the opposite. It is proof of success. You raised them to stand. Now they are standing. Your task is to smile through the tears and cheer from the sidelines. Redefining the relationship after 40, the parent-child bond must be rewritten. No longer command and obedience. It can evolve into friendship, respect, companionship. Imagine sitting with your grown son over coffee, discussing politics, not as father versus child, but as two men. Imagine your daughter calling you not for permission, but for advice. These are the new joys of midlife parenting. The shift from authority to ally. The legacy of love in the end. What remains is not how perfectly you controlled their choices, but how consistently you loved them. Your children will remember the tone of your voice more than the content of your arguments. They will remember if they felt safe bringing you their secrets. They will remember if your love had conditions, or if it survived their mistakes. After 40, the greatest legacy you can leave is not money or achievements, but the certainty in your children's hearts. I was loved even when I failed. I was believed in even when I doubted myself. Conclusion: letting go is not the end of parenting. It is the maturation of parenting. It is the shift from holding hands to holding space, from directing to accompanying. After 40, you learn that love is not measured by how much you protect, but by how much you empower. You learn that the truest gift you can give your children is freedom, the freedom to become fully themselves. And in that freedom, you discover your own, the freedom to watch, to admire, to learn, and to grow alongside them.